live.
I see off air. I guess it'll say air.
Yeah, it's on now. Okay. Hi, everyone. This is T-townMaryEllen. I'm here with Charlie O'Brien and his brother, John. And we're here to talk about I hope you made it to our last one because it was fun. All things Major League Baseball.
No one showed in yet?
And no, there's no one in chat yet. So we'll just hang out for a few minutes while we wait.
What are you looking for now?
What if nobody showed up?
Then we quit. In about 15 minutes, we quit. We'll go home.
You need to get on this with your phone at least so we can have somebody show up. I don't know how to do it. T-townMaryEllen. Something.
Hey, works hard. Okay, I have to look at my phone because it's not showing up on the computer. It does that sometimes. Hey, works hard. That was so nice of you to come in. Because I know you're hurt. Hey, works hard. Okay, I have to.
How come it's off like that?
It's behind. Okay. So thank you for joining Works Hard because I don't know if you were in here last time or not. I don't think you were the last time we did this, but
you missed out.
Can you hear me? Works Hard. I hate for you to use your hands because I know that you're hurt. Oh, good. Oh, thank you. She said she was here last time. She couldn't miss it.
Oh.
Can you hear me? Okay, cool. Okay, so this is John O'Brien. John, I'm going to introduce you and you tell us what you did as your professional career in Major League Baseball.
Okay, well, hello, everybody. First of all, there was no career in Major League Baseball. I want to go ahead and set the story straight right off the bat. That didn't happen, but I was fortunate enough to get drafted in 1991 by the St. Louis Cardinals, I believe in the 35th round out of Oral Roberts University. Then I was sent off to Hamilton, Ontario to play short season A. Had a wonderful time, good season, and came back for spring training. And really, we got, it was a tough spring training, but, we got all the draft picks that were, I guess, the prospects were all sent to Springfield in Illinois in the Midwest League. So I was there with several big leaguers, John Mabry, Dimitri Young, Joe McEwing, several pitchers that off that team made it to the big league. So I had a pretty decent year, then had a surgery, ended up having back surgery, and had shoulder surgery first. Excuse me, had shoulder surgery there. Then came back spring training next year, went to Savannah, and I ended up having 2 back surgeries and never really did bounce back. And then I played some independent league baseball down in Harlingen, Texas for the Rio Grande Valley White Wings. And my manager was Alan Ashby, who was a big league catcher, I think for 20 plus years, I think, wasn't he, Charles?
Yeah, he was there for a long time, yeah.
Long time. So I was already pretty good on his list because he loved my brother. So I got kind of special treatment down there in that independent league. So I was there until 96. And then Ashby went to be the color man for the Houston Astros. And we got Mike Brumley as a manager. And when Mike got there, I was fortunate enough to get a contract offer to go down and play in the Mexican League. So I went down and played for the Cancun Langosteros, the Mexican League. So I was there for a couple months and had a pretty good time, played some pretty good baseball, but we went on a road trip, got all of our stuff stolen back at the hotel. And when I came back, I was scared half to death. So I was like, I'm going home. So went back and played independent league in Alexandria, Louisiana. 96, 97. I was there from 96 to 2000, then became a manager there. Was a player manager my first year. And then my second year was a manager. And then after that, I got out of baseball to, I guess what they say is get in the real world. So I had an opportunity to get into medical sales and been in it ever since. So had a lot of fun. End up in the minor league / independent leagues for 13 years. So good.
And you played first base, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So going back to somebody said you said that they liked Charles.
Yeah.
Did it help or hurt you to have known him?
Personally.
Is that talking about being related to him?
Being related to him.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think there's anybody that's going to take. I mean, my brother had a great reputation, hard-nosed reputation, which was, in my opinion, the best one to have. And everybody loved playing with him, having him on the team, and they didn't like playing against him because they know that, he's hard-nosed. And so everybody that I got to meet that knew and played with my brother, it was always a positive. It was never negative. Anything that negative happened in my career is because of me, and I had kind of a big mouth sometimes. So.
No.
Yeah, I did.
So when you said you were a manager.
Yes, ma'am.
And did any of those, well, let's go back to even younger years.
Yes.
Your boys all played baseball, obviously, and have gone on to big things. Explain that, both of you.
Well, I mean, Charlie's kids obviously are a little older than mine, so he should probably go first. But the biggest kick I got out of it is his younger son Cameron played at Louisville, and then left Louisville and went to a little junior college in Texas, and then ended up going to West Virginia, and they were in the Big 12. And my son Austin was fortunate enough to play at OU, so West Virginia came to OU, so that was a lot of fun when they played against each other. It wasn't good for Stones because my son Stoney didn't get any hits, and I think Cameron got a few hits and even hit a home run, so he kind of won that battle. But that was a huge honor to see those boys playing against each other at in the Big 12. So that was a lot of fun.
Good.
I thought it was neat in the respects that, his younger kid, Mason, went to Wichita State, and my older boy, Chris, went to Wichita State. So, I mean, the connections there, they got to wear the same number and the same name on the back. And it was really, to me, it was an honor for him to wear that number after I did. And getting to watch him play and his older boy, Austin, getting to see the competition between him and my youngest one, Cameron. Really both of us sitting up there made us awful proud to see those kids go to, play major college baseball and be successful and make a difference on their team. So, anytime you get kids, especially their cousins, get a chance to play against each other and compete against each other and actually grow up together was a big honor for me. And I know it was for him also, for both families, travel around. To me, it was a fun thing. And he talks about his kids being a young age. I mean, he got a chance to coach his kids. I got a chance when I got done playing to coach mine. And, that was so important. And the memories that we had, growing up and being with them and going on the road with them and spending our summers together a lot of times. And it was a good time. And I got a chance to actually do it in high school too, with both of them, with the Midwest National. They both played on a traveling team out of Springfield, Missouri, and spend so much time with them was a lot of fun for me. And traveling, we went Thursday to Sunday, all the way through the summer. So we were together and competing and going out there and teaching baseball. So, the baseball's been part of our lives. I know my family in general since, I was 5-6 years old. So.
Right. So going to that vein of thought, so the time that you guys have invested, both of your families and yourselves, in baseball on the off season, in the summers, traveling all the time, the money spent, the hours invested, do you feel like it was worth it, that you were able to spend all that time and with your kids, and your kids having spent that much time, does it feel like that was a good time invested, or would you have done it differently?
Oh, absolutely. My opinion is I wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, like I was telling you earlier with the kids, I probably, I was competitive, as like my brother was. So, I wish I would have just kind of taken it in a little bit more instead of going out there trying to beat everybody at 10 years old and stuff like that. I probably would have been a little bit easier on the kids, but you get these kids and they stay friends forever. And a lot of Stoney's friends and Mason's friends still come by the house, and that's all they talk about. It was, you remember going to Memphis, or you remember going to Texas or Kansas City, and we did this and we did that. And I mean, that's what it's all about. It's the memories and the friendships and stuff like that. So I wouldn't change it. And I mean, I probably, I wish I would have done it. I got to coach him up to 8th grade. I didn't get to coach him in high school, which I wish I would have got to do a little bit of it. But I mean, they all enjoy each other. They still enjoy each other. So I mean, it was well worth the time. And I think I can't speak for Charles, but I'm pretty sure, we didn't get paid to coach. Our parents didn't buy our hotel rooms, and these coaches now, they get paid and they get their rooms paid for and all this stuff. And I mean, baseball has been so good to us as a family. There's no way in the world I was going to ask a parent to pay my hotel when they're on the same, level I am. And we're just trying to get these kids better and have fun. So it's changed a lot now, and I'm glad I don't have to deal with all that stuff now, but I wouldn't change a thing.
Me talking about coach, I mean, people don't understand that when you play baseball as a young kid, you play it because you love it. And you play, to me, when I get to high school and college actually was my favorite time to play the game of baseball, because you just loved it. You got to be with a bunch of guys, and you got to enjoy it. I was fortunate to play in Wichita State in one of the best programs in the country, and getting a chance to play in the World Series. But that time playing for me, my 3 years at Wichita State, was my favorite time of playing baseball my whole life. And then once you do that, and then you start playing pro ball, it's a job. It becomes a job. So that's why I recommend a lot of kids to go to college and enjoy that part of it, because it was so important for my development as a young man to understand the importance of hard work and the struggles of trying to get better all the time. So, that's what was so fun for me, is to coach those kids at that time and try to teach them how to play the game right. People don't understand that, the coaches, I see a lot of little league coaches, which is, our parents that go out there. But, what I wanted to teach my kids, the most important thing to me was be able to teach your own kids when you're done playing all the little intricacies of being a baseball player, all the little things you have to do. And people don't understand it. The layperson, as far as baseball goes, don't understand all the little things you get to teach kids that they can go teach their kids when they're done playing. So that was the important thing, because most lay coaches, the coaches out there, don't know those little things. So now, like I always said, if I've done my job and I've done it right, those kids will be able to teach their kids the correct way to play baseball. And to me, that's the most important thing.
Yeah. So in that vein too, you think it's better to go ahead and go to college and get that done first before you go into major leagues? Or if you ever had, if somebody had the opportunity to leave college and to go in, would you say, oh, you could just finish college later? Or?
Well, at that point, when you get into college, you're a junior and you get drafted, that's the most, you have your most leverage as far as, income wise, what you're going to get. When you get to be a senior and they draft you and you go, you don't have any choice of what they do. So, but still, you do have time to go back and get your degree and do those kind of things, but you got to give it a shot once you get there. So that's important to me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And both, both my kids were fortunate enough to play programs, and they weren't, incredibly talented. They had work ethic, and my little one Mason had some injuries that kind of hurt him in the end. But they're both, I stress school on them all the time, and they were both fortunate enough to get their degrees. Mason got it from Wichita State, and Austin got it from OU. And when Austin, didn't get signed in the draft, he ended up signing as a free agent with the Phillies. I told him, go, Dad, how long should I play? I said, plays until you get it out of your system, until you're ready to go to work. You got your degree. just go and have as much fun and play as long as you're able to put a uniform on and enjoy it. And now he's feeling that, because now it's no longer there, and he started working in surgical sales, but the degree comes in handy, and they're both anxious and ready to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so let's go back a little ways, John, to when Charles won the World Series on the Braves team, and you were there.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like to be there and to realize Charles's dream of winning a World Series and being in the locker room and celebrating and with the family and the other players and everything?
Well, I mean, Charles can attest to this. And probably everybody that's ever played the game in their life in the backyard when they're kids playing wiffle ball, you're always up in the bottom of the ninth in the World Series to win the game. And every guy that played the game at a decent level, even in college, even in pro ball in the minor leagues, your dream and goal is get to the minor leagues, and the pinnacle of, get to the major leagues, and the pinnacle of the major leagues is winning the World Series. So, when I was there, I was out of the St. Louis Cardinals organization, playing the independent league and still trying to fight for that goal. But I felt like I won the World Series. I was able to, and fortunate enough to spend some time in Atlanta when they were in the playoffs, and got to go down there and meet all the players, all the coaches, and all the security staff. So I kind of had free reign down there. So, and I wasn't very bashful. So when they got in that World Series and played that nail biter, when Dave Justice kind of said the Atlanta fans kind of got on the Atlanta fans for not being that loud, and then you come back there for that game, and that field was rocking, and win that game. And like my brother said, hell, how'd you get down there so quick? I did. I sprinted down there and went right past the security guard, went right in there and got me a World Series hat and everything. I felt they thought I was like one of the players. Got some champagne and everything, and my brother was, celebrating, taking pictures out there. So I asked the security guard if I can go get my parents, and I think my uncle and my brother, and that's some pictures. So I went and got the whole family and brought them in the clubhouse before Charles got there. And I probably regret that, because I had my mom and a couple uncles trying to get over there with Jane with Jane Fonda and Ted Turner and take pictures and all that. And, I probably would have handled differently if I had it over again. I probably would have waited to ask Charles, "Hey, when do you want to go get him?" But
no, that was my favorite time. Definitely. I remember whenever Grissom caught that last out, I looked up at John, and I knew where he's sitting, and he was up there, and I was shaking my fist at him and all that stuff. And, to experience that and then get in the locker room and see your family get to experience the same thing I did, that was the ultimate as far as, you're never going to beat that. I don't care if you do it again, you're never going to beat that first time. And knowing, like, Parcells always said, no one can ever take it away from you now. You're the best in the world. And that's something he said they can never, ever take away from you. So enjoy it. And that's what I did. My whole family was there. My uncle was passing out the champagne as we came in. So, our family in general hasn't been very bashful. So they were great. And I know I got to see everybody in there get to experience the joy of being a world champion. So that was the coolest thing that I've probably ever done in my whole life, other than my kids.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So back when you were younger, let's go back again. We keep going back and forth.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite professional baseball player growing up, John?
When I was younger,
Yes.
I was a younger kid, I liked Hank Aaron. I was always loved the home run hitters. Never really cared for the pitchers. But they were, I was a home run. I liked Hank Aaron. Was probably one of my favorites. And then, of course, when you look up to your big brother, his favorite player probably ever was Johnny Bench. He might correct me if I'm wrong, but Johnny Bench is kind of, how he mentored himself after, because Johnny Bench is probably the best catcher of all time, changed the whole position behind the plate. So, I was a big Red Machine fan. And just, there's so many players, Mary. I'll just tell you the truth. I love so many of them. It's hard to even say.
I just want to say thank you, Works Hard, for deleting the troll. I want to remind everybody this is a family-friendly channel, and you don't need to come in and cause trouble. And hey, James, thanks for joining the chat. Okay, Charles, who's your favorite?
Like John said, it was Johnny Bench by far. I mean, he being a catcher, my brother was a catcher, and Johnny Bench was always my favorite. I watched him all the time, and I actually, patterned a lot of my game after his, because he was such a great catcher. But I wish I could hit like him, but I never could. But anyway, I could definitely catch like him and throw like it. So that was the fun part. The getting back to that, your favorites and all stuff. There's so many guys that you look up to, and you really don't until you actually get to like big league camp. I was fortunate to go to getting drafted, and I got to go to big league camp my whole career. Very few guys get to do something like that, and I was fortunate because they always needed extra catchers in the big league camp to start with when I was younger. But to see it and watch the guys struggle sometimes, just like you would, you realize that, hey, I can do this just like they could. So that's what's helped me a bunch in my first big league camp, and getting to see all the guys and getting to go take batting practice with them and do just as good as they did. So that was important to me, and something that really helped me in my career.
So who's one of your favorite players to watch now? We were saying the last time, John, when you were watching the stream, that Charles said that it's different the way they play now compared to when you guys used to play.
Yes.
And you said that at a younger level, but even at the bigger level. So what do you have to say about that?
I'm glad I don't play the game now. To be honest, it's a whole different game, and especially the way I played, nobody would have. They're putting a lot of shortstop. That's what people are doing, is putting shortstops at first base, and you don't see too many legitimate first basemen anymore, to where they're slow or they're bigger guys that can hit. You just don't. It's an art that's lost. It's getting lost. Same as bunting. The speed part of the game is going down, so it's different. But when you talk about players, my favorite player to watch now that does everything the right way, in my opinion, is Mike Trout. He does everything on and off the field that you're supposed to do it, and he doesn't change his game for anybody. He goes out and plays the same way, and is an incredible teammate. And especially watching him handle the tragedy of their left-handed pitcher Skaggs passing away, and how he handled that and gave a tribute to him is how all the kids should look up to, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Mike Trout's another one that I really enjoy watching, simply because he plays the game the right way. When we talk about the right way, he never does not hustle. He doesn't do, he always throwing the right bases, always running the bases right. He's doing the things it takes to be a professional player. And what I like about him, he's humble, and he doesn't brag on himself. And to me, I've always couldn't stand guys that were full of themselves, because, God gave you a gift and you're using it, but you don't have to show people up and act like you're way better than everyone else simply because you can throw or hit a baseball. So, and the biggest thing now, we talk about changes. What's happened to me, and I don't, John, I think would be better in this respect, because, guys now, when they pitch, they don't know how to throw slow anymore. Everyone wants to throw hard. Yeah. But the whole art of hitting and pitching is be able to go, you got to pitch slow. Greg Maddux always talked about, he didn't learn to become a better pitcher until he started to learn how to throw slow. It sounds kind of funny, but the slower he threw, the better he became. And they don't have, now it's like the harder they throw. Everyone wants to throw hard. They want to throw 100 miles an hour, 95. And I'm telling you, I can hit a bullet if I saw it enough. So, you start seeing that, and timing-wise, you're going to hit those guys. But what's happening, those guys can't throw like they used to as far as pitching, nibbling on the corners, changing speeds, working the strike zone. You don't see that much now. It's just power guys, and here it is, hit it. And I'd love to face guys now a lot more than you know, a Greg Maddox or a Tom Glavine who always throws, you know, off speed stuff. And then, you know, they worked to count, worked to hit their strengths and weaknesses. They knew what they were and took advantage of a lot of guys' weaknesses. So that's a big difference now is the pitchers nowadays can't throw slow.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you guys, there's a lot of traveling involved in baseball, which is hard. I don't know how they do it in the minor leagues. Is it bus? Is it plane? Is it?
Yeah.
It depends on what league you're in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a lot of time on the road. And at that point, did you have a family yet, John?
Yeah, I had a family most of my minor league career. But it was, I mean, that made my life better, really. It was harder, but it was always, you know, something to look forward to. And, you know, my wife works for the, you know, Tulsa public school system. So it was always awesome when she got out of school the whole summers. I had her and the boys, and they basically traveled everywhere with us. So, I mean, it was good for me in that aspect. And, it, you know, and it keeps you out of trouble, too, because there's a lot of trouble, you know, in the minor leagues on those bus trips and all that stuff. So that kept me straight and narrow. So it was fortunate enough. I mean, and then you know, near the end of the career, you get the sleeper buses and stuff like that. So it really, you know, it gets a lot better. And when you're a veteran and played a lot in the minor leagues, it, you know, you get to pick of the seats. So it was good that way too.
What people don't understand, minor league baseball is actually horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, the travel, the places you stay, the food you have to eat, your per diem. I mean, it's everything they do almost is like you have to persevere and to make they kind of weed out a lot of people. I mean, that's what happens. And fortunate if you don't have a good wife, and I was fortunate to have a wife that could pick up. I mean, people don't understand if you got to move somewhere, your wife has to pick up. They got to load up and they got to move. And you know, you're making. I mean, I first signed, I got $500 a month before taxes. I mean, you have to most guys now have to pay to play minor league baseball because you have to pay. You know, you got 5 guys in a room and you still don't make enough money to cover your rent or your, you know, your laundry bill. I mean, it's a minor league baseball actually horrible to have to deal with as far as the financial aspect and the family and your wife has to get up and do. They don't care. They say you got to be there tomorrow. You know, then the wife has to pick up and travel and pick your kids up and pack your stuff up and leave and. You know, if you didn't have a good wife, and what happens a lot of times is a lot of those wives didn't want to do that anymore, and they would make their husbands actually get out of the game of baseball. It was horrible.
Yeah.
There is a comment in chat that works hard said any sport, there is a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Is there one story that, or maybe two, that you can share on a family channel of something that happened on the road that stands out to you?
Oh, for me, in the minor leagues, there's a bunch of stories, but for Family Channel, the best were obviously when the buses broke down. I mean, those to me are the best. Those are the best stories, and everybody always remember those because you know we bus from Rio Grande Valley, we bussed all the way up to Amarillo, Texas. So you already have a 15, 16-hour bus ride, and then you conk out 3 in the morning. Nobody can get to you till 6, and the whole team's out on the side of the highway and stuff like that. And it's just horrible. ACs go down in the bus, air conditioners, and there's some stories that are really horrible.
Yeah, they are horrible.
You kind of block them out. Really, you block them out. But yeah, there's a bunch of them that are not good.
Crash Davis, that bus actually, I think we had it in Modesto when I first signed. And we broke down almost every trip. And our bus driver was also our trainer and the mechanic. So I mean, we had guys. It was hilarious some of the stuff that happened to us, and we would sit in that bus and we'd take the bus and it didn't have air conditioning. And you had the windows popped out, emergency exit windows. We'd pop them out and put them in the aisle. I mean, it was crazy some of the stuff we did, but it looked exactly like that Crash Davis bus. Curve, the curve back in and everything. It was pretty neat, but. I I mean, everyone's got minor league stories as far as breakdowns and stuff like that, and getting in it, the next day right before the game, and it's crazy stuff that goes on. People don't realize that the travesty some of these minor league guys have to go through. It's our trials and tribulations of actually getting to the big leagues. It's tough.
Yeah, I know you guys know Donovan Walton. He was saying it's a tough road to hoe. But
and he just started.
Yeah.
He's only been in the minor leagues, maybe second year, 2.5 years. So, he's developing and he's moving up pretty fast. He's a good scrappy player.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, good family.
Yeah.
I mean, Coach got a chance to coach him in high school. Very, very intelligent and works hard. You just got to grind it out and hope you get an opportunity. You get better and you get an opportunity. Someone likes you. You got to have someone like you. And there's so many politics even in the minor league baseball. It's you got to have a sponsor or someone that thinks you can make it and gets behind you and will go in their meetings and say, hey, this kid can play. You need to give him a chance. And that's what any of us ask for. And a lot of people don't get that chance because they don't have people to sponsor them or they get injuries. John talked about injuries. I mean, that's what kills more guys than anything. Is you play so much baseball and eventually they get hurt and it hurts your arm or hurts your knee. When you get injured like that, you're really never saying, especially if you got back problems or knee problems, if you're a catcher or, shoulder problems. Those guys, kind of go by the wayside. And fortunately for me, I didn't, knock on wood, I didn't have any of those problems. So that was a good deal. And you got to be lucky. And that's a lot of it for me. You get lucky and stay healthy and you give you a chance, you take advantage of it.
Yeah, and Brother Charles, how good was, our sister KK's married to Eric Sonberg, which went to Mr. Kelly, and everybody knows. And I asked Charles, it's like, man, how good was Eric Sonberg? How good was he? And, I mean, Charles told me he was absolutely filthy. Yeah. And that's unfortunate. You never.
His sophomore year in college, I know he was 19-2 or something like that, but he could have won 15 games in the big leagues that year the way he pitched. I mean, he threw 94-5 with a great changeup. He threw like Glav, and only threw about 5-6 miles an hour harder. So I mean, and he could pitch, throw strikes. I mean, he could have been a bona fide big league pitcher and been very successful. The injuries, he tore his shoulder up, and that's what happens. Unfortunately, there's a lot of good baseball players that don't ever get a chance to make it. A lot of them a lot better than me, for sure.
Yeah.
And Dallas really hasn't had that many injuries, right?
No, he's actually been very fortunate too. He had one shoulder injury, I think he's had, but he's another fun guy to pitch. He's a guy that can pitch slow. I mean, he can pitch, and people, they don't think that's why I think he didn't get the free agent money he should have got, because people don't think he's throwing 95 miles an hour, but I'd take him in a game I had to win. He's one of the top 5 pitchers in the league to me. So, because he can compete, he competes like crazy, and he can change speeds, and he can pitch to, change speeds as far as keeping a hitter off balance. And if you can do that, you're gonna pitch a long time.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so wait, you never did tell a story about something you did on the road or something that happened to you on the road. You talked about minor league stuff, but what about major league stuff?
Probably one of the most memorable things is on a runway coming out of Atlanta. All of a sudden, our cabin filled up with smoke, and we had to get off the plane in an emergency as far as jumping on the chute. But anyway, they opened that door. David Justice and Smith kept jumping over all the seats to make sure they could get out. They were total panic. And I mean, they jumped in front of the line because they were at the back, on the back with me, but they freaked out and they were gone because they thought this thing was going to blow up. And it was kind of scary if anyone's ever been through like that, because we were jumping off that plane on that chute. I mean, they were foaming the runway, and that stuff was all over everything. So it was pretty scary because you don't know what might happen that thing. And it was a big old jet, and we were all jumping off. And I remember getting off, and in Atlanta, we had to fly with suits, and that foam was all over our stuff, all over your face. It was like we were laughing because guys had stuff on top of their head. It was just funny because they were foaming that stuff, and it was all over. But that was one of the scarier times, I know for sure.
Were you guys the only ones on the plane?
Yeah, we chartered a plane.
Did you know what happened?
No, there was some type of electrical problem that caused a fire, and they got it out. But I mean, just we had taxied, get ready to take off, and all of a sudden the thing started filling up. It's just like, here comes the smoke, and you're like, oh hell, now what? And they get on the thing and said, hey, we're going to have to make an emergency exit. Everyone get this, don't grab anything, get off the plane. So that thing opened up, and that big tarp opened up, and off we're sliding down the deal. And everyone was running to get off of it.
I bet.
Yeah, it's pretty scary.
Well, that was a scary one. Is there a funny one?
Well, I thought that was funny that Smitty and them acted like they did, because it cost. They fined them like $500 in kangaroo court.
Really?
Yes, because they took advantage of the exit. I mean, they were not going to get burned up. Those are two guys that weren't going to burn up. So the guys in the back, we all brought a case to the court, to the judge, and I was having to be one of the judges at that time, and we banged them for $500 a piece for cutting the line. So I mean, that's pretty funny, I thought.
That's kind of funny. Okay. So when you, kind of talked about it when you were a manager, but when you, across the board, either one of you, both of you, each time, one or the other, when you coached / managed, did any of the players ever make it to the major leagues that you had coached or managed?
Yeah. We had a left-handed pitcher, Alan Newman. Charles knows him. I think he ended up playing with him maybe in Anaheim. He's a left-handed pitcher, had a cutter, big old left-handed kid. Was a pitcher, and then I had another guy that played in the outfield. I forgot his name. He had an Italian name, so I forgot it. But there's a couple of guys I played with that made it back to the big leagues. I played with several that had played in the big leagues and no longer were kind of on their way out and didn't want to, too prideful just to get away, from the game. So, but yeah, several guys I played with.
Yeah, I was fortunate. I mean, growing up, I met Archie Bradley and Dylan Bundy both played with me when they were 15 on our Oklahoma Bucks team, which was our young traveling team. And then, I got a chance to coach shortstop for us, actually, too, Donovan and Reynolds. Matt Reynolds. I just went blank, but yeah, those are two guys that very talented guys. I know Chris was another one. My kid, had the potential. We talk about injuries. He could catch and throw it in the big leagues. He could have played in the big leagues one day too. So, injuries took that part of it. But those guys were special. I mean, seeing those guys play and grow and mature and see them get better each year, that was a big thing, because they took huge strides. Each year got better and better. And Reynolds went to Arkansas and became an All-American, and Donovan went to Oklahoma State and played well. Every year he was there. So seeing those guys get better every year, that was the fun part of it.
Did you never coach Dallas?
No, I didn't.
No,
my brother did. But I got to see him, got to see him compete. I always thought he was going to be very good because he could compete so well. No one understands a pitcher has to compete like they do, and they don't give in, and they do what they do best, and that's what he does, and that's what I love about him.
Yeah.
Okay, Charles doesn't like when I do this, but I just wanted to welcome Dean from Dreamers Empire. Thanks for coming in, Dean. He said Al Newman was our utility man at the Twins.
That was a
different Newman.
Oh.
Yeah. 6'6", left-handed pitcher. He wasn't utility.
There's two Al Newmans.
Yeah, exactly. There is two. Yeah. Al Newman was a very good utility guy too. He could do a lot of things. He was a good guy.
Yeah.
But the other Newman is a big left-hand. He's like a big left-handed pitcher. I remember him too.
Cool. Oh, where'd John go? He's gone.
John left. Where'd you go, John?
There you go.
Yeah, I'm back.
John's back.
Somebody called.
Somebody
called and had to shoot in the voicemail.
Oh, anybody in chat have any questions? Everybody's been very quiet except for Works Hard, who's been working very hard keeping the trolls out. By the way, thank you. So Charles, by the way, if everybody watched the last one, stream we had, has a book out called The Cy Young Catcher. His brother-in-law you helped him write the book. So you can get that book on Amazon. Go check it out. Charles also has created the patent or whatever you want to say on the hockey style catcher's mask.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Hockey style catcher's mask that they use today. And we showed that last one. So if you want to catch those two, go back and look at my previous stream and that will be on there. Maybe you could bring your ring sometime.
Do that.
Your World Series ring. We're going to try and do this once a month and called Chatting with Charlie O'Brien, and we'll just come in and talk about all things Major League Baseball. So come join us anytime. John, you're always welcome to come join us because you're a hoot. You have a perspective on it that a lot of people don't have because you were in it. So
I want to take care of the trolls next time.
Yeah, thank you. I'll make you a mod and you can help take care of the trolls. I don't know. We must be getting more popular because I've never had a troll before. Okay, here's a question. What do you miss the most? And each of you can answer that. No, it wasn't covered yet already, Dean. That's a good question. John, what do you miss the most about playing ball?
I just miss the clubhouse and the players, more than anything. I mean, obviously, if you love to compete, you miss competing. But I miss the clubhouse and the camaraderie on the bus trips and eating dinners and all that stuff and just having fun because you spend every single day with those guys. And, some guys you like and some guys you don't, but you still go play and you're still family. And I think that's exactly what I miss the most.
So are you still in contact with some of those guys?
Yeah, I mean, almost every week I talk to players that I played with, and it's kind of odd because I talk more probably to players I played against now than anything, But when you play baseball and you spend that much time with guys, when you might not see them for 20 years, but when you see them, it's like you just pick up right where you left off. So like you don't miss a beat. What's that?
Charles, sorry, John. No, Charles said the last time, well, we asked him who his favorite player was that he played against.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite competitor that you played against?
I mean, there's several of them, but one that Charles probably knows that he was in his career. We went, we got in a big brawl and he and I choked each other, and it was Mel Hall. And one thing I thought I would take Mel Hall, and I just didn't know how strong he was. And we snatched on to each other, and he snatched on to me, and I knew right then and there I might have made a mistake. So I really liked. I really liked Mel Hall. I love the way he competed, and I love the fact that he was trying to make it back to the big leagues. Just came out of the big leagues, and was trying to get back. But there's so many players that I. John Mabry was probably my best teammate ever. The guy played the game the right way, never wore batting gloves. He ran everything out. I mean, he hit a line drive back to the pitcher one time, and the pitcher snagged it probably in 0.2 seconds, and John Mabry sprinted all the way to first base. And that's the way he played the game, and it never stopped. And he's still part of the game in the big leagues, hitting coach somewhere. He was with the Cardinals, but he got let go recently. But guys that played the game the right way and probably played the game the way I wish I would have played it, but didn't do that. So there's a lot of good players.
What I miss most is just the game itself. Yeah. The competition as far as calling the game, the competition of, facing a hitter, a batter, a pitcher that you knows very good and have to go out there and compete. And those little things in the game, that's what I miss more than anything. I don't miss the travel, don't miss the grind, having to work out all the time and that kind of stuff. So, just the game itself, that's what I really miss more than anything, just calling the game for a pitcher.
Well, and on that topic, who were the pitchers that you were personal catcher for? There were a couple of them.
Yeah, no, it was, Pat Henkin. I got a chance to catch him a lot. Everyone knows Greg Maddox. When I was in Atlanta the first year, they gave me John Smoltz because he was so hard to catch. And Hobby was coming, it was his first year in the big league, so they gave me the tough guy to catch. And then I got to catch Roger Clemens in Toronto in '97 too. I got to be a personal catcher after about the first 10 games because he couldn't get along with Santiago. So, then we reeled off a bunch of wins in a row. So, I mean, most of those are the four guys that I got to catch all the time.
Okay, there's a couple of questions in chat. One comment, one question. Dean from Dreamers Empire, which go follow the live place, everybody. Dean runs that one. He said that you were born the same exact day, same exact year. And he's right. He's right. We're all the same age. Dean, you, me.
Wow,
he lives in Minnesota. Wow, we're old.
You feel old, Dean? That's all I want to
know. We're not old yet.
It feels like it.
Age is just a number, people. Age is just a number.
Amen.
Okay, a question that came out was there a team, and both of you can answer this. Dean said, oh yeah, I feel old.
I know the feeling, buddy. Hang in there.
Dean, you're not old. Was there a team that either of you never, ever would have wanted to play for? For an example, it was either too far from their family or low stats or whatever the reason may be.
Oh, I can come out. I didn't want to play in New York. I didn't want to play in Canada.
But you did play in New York.
I know that, but those are two teams I didn't want to play for, and I played for them. So those are probably the worst two teams I could have played for, but it ended up being actually very enjoyable in both places. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, and I had a lot of good friends in New York. But it's definitely, being from Oklahoma, it's definitely a different place. But you learn to adapt, and man, I met a lot of good people there. Great organization as far as to deal with and how they treated you. And same way with Toronto. Toronto was the best organization as far as treating the players at any place I've been. So those are the two places I did want to play, and I played them both. That's good. I mean, so turned out better than I thought. See, you never know. Yep. How about you, John?
Well, if it comes to the big leagues, I would have played anywhere. I don't care where it was. I would have played on Mars if I had to. But, as far as the minor leagues and stuff like that, we had a place in Greensville, Mississippi. It was so hot, and they had the worst mosquitoes. We'd be playing a game, and they'd have a mosquito truck coming out blowing mist all over. That Charles knows all about because we used to use that mister on the kill floor at the plant to get all those flies off those cattle. This thing would come, you see a big old cloud of just mist.
Permethrin, I think is what they called it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're killing all the mosquitoes, and I thought we got to get out of here. So there's places that in the minor leagues I would never want to go back to again. For sure.
Well.
Yeah, but I would have played anywhere in the big leagues just one day. Anywhere.
That's nice.
Oh, it's a truth.
Still today?
Oh, absolutely. I'd go on a massive diet just to get up there and win that back.
Okay. Any more questions in chat? We're going to wrap this puppy up. If nobody, I know it goes by fast, right?
Where's Nancy? She hadn't said one word while I'm
No one, none of the family. They bailed on her.
Yeah, if they're listening, they may be listening, but they're sure not asking questions or saying anything.
Oh, that hurts.
But that might be good for you, John, because she might have said something you wouldn't want to answer.
Yeah, probably a good chance.
Yeah, better get us off the air before they start asking questions.
Yeah, they may come out of the woodwork now.
Yeah. Let's get off. See you later. We got to go.
Okay, so we will remind you next month when our next Chatting with Charlie O'Brien will be, and we'll come up with some more topics. And please feel free to message me with any topics that you want to cover. And any people you would like to see join or anything. I don't care. Whatever part of baseball that you want to have covered, just let me know. So thank you, John. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you always, Charles, for Dean said, thanks, Charlie, John, and Mary Ellen. Wish I could have been here for the whole time, but thanks for doing this. So there are people who are watching that really appreciate it.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
So just remember, everyone, if you have the choice, choose kindness.